We welcome everyone to today's hearing on non-citizen voting. I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. I thank our witnesses for being here today. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. As Americans, we know that to be self-evident truth listed in the Declaration of Independence. But it really was something truly unique both at the time and in human history. We as American citizens are not ruled, we govern. The way we do that is at the ballot box. But President Biden and Kamala Harris's border crisis poses a direct threat to this fundamental right, and it is intentional. Radical progressive Democrats' near universal opposition to both H.R. 2 and the SAVE Act prove that this is all by design. Now, less than 2 months before the 2024 election, this threat could not be more real. Last week, I released a 36-page report detailing the scope of the border crisis. The report illustrates how Biden-Harris open border policies are fundamentally remaking America. More specifically, it analyzes how the massive influx of illegal aliens under this administration, on top of the millions of non-citizens already living in the United States, could upend federal elections for years to come. Since President Biden and Kamala Harris took office, over 8.5 million illegal aliens have crossed the southern border. 5.6 million illegal aliens have been released directly into the United States. Almost 2 million illegal aliens that we know of have evaded Border Patrol as what are called gotaways. Taken together, at least 7.5 million illegal aliens have entered the United States since January 2021, and they are living in every corner of the country. This year, the foreign-born population hit a record of over 50 million, 15.6% of the total population, the highest level in U.S. history. Conservative estimates show non-citizens make up about 30 million of that population, but it very well could be much higher. Non-citizens will vote in the 2024 election because our system not only makes it easy to do, but incentivizes doing so. The Biden-Harris administration baselessly claims it is extraordinarily rare for non-citizens to illegally vote in federal elections. A 2014 study from professors at Old Dominion University and George Mason University estimated that 6.4% of non-citizens, 1.2 million individuals at that time, illegally voted in the 2008 election. The study concluded that non-citizens very well may have tipped the 2008 Minnesota Senate race in Al Franken's favor and drove President Obama's victory in North Carolina. We can debate the merits of that study, but the point remains. It would only take a few thousand non-citizens voting, much less than the 1.2 million estimated, to impact the outcome of our razor-thin elections. In the 2020 presidential election, regardless of what you think, Arizona was carried by about 10,000 votes, Georgia by about 12,000 votes, Wisconsin by about 20,000 votes, and Pennsylvania by 81,000 votes. Democrats know this, which is why they try to downplay and distract from the issue. The other side also loves to point out that, quote, it is already illegal for non-citizens to vote. That is technically true. They fail to mention that the Supreme Court's interpretation of the National Voter Registration Act of 1993, or the NVRA, literally prohibits states from verifying citizenship during the voter registration process. This means it is impossible for states to enforce the law on the front end. Consequently, the primary defense against non-citizens registering to vote is a literal box-checking exercise on a voter registration form. This is the only barrier the American people have to ensuring that only citizens vote. Because of the Supreme Court ruling in Arizona, an individual who can prove they are a United States citizen is given a full ballot that includes all federal, state, and local elections. But someone who cannot prove they are a United States citizen is given a federal-only ballot, meaning they can vote in presidential, Senate, and congressional elections. That is the upside-down world that we've created. As of August 9th, there were over 41,000 federal-only voters in Arizona who could not prove they were U.S. citizens. Think about that. But the absurdity of the NVRA doesn't stop there. It also forces states to provide voter registration forms to applicants for driver's licenses or welfare benefits. This presents multiple opportunities for non-citizens to register to vote. Every state in the union allows non-citizens to get a driver's license. 19 states and D.C. even allow illegal aliens to get a driver's license. And millions of non-citizens, including many illegal aliens, are eligible for welfare benefits. We know the NVRA is broken because non-citizens are registering to vote and voting. Since 2021, Texas has removed over 6,500 non-citizens from its voter rolls. Over 1,900 had voting histories. Since 2022, Virginia has removed 6,300 non-citizens from its rolls. Alabama removed 3,251 non-citizens from its rolls. Ohio identified 597 non-citizens, 138 had voter histories. The states that are doing the right thing and removing non-citizens from their voter rolls are fighting with one arm tied behind their backs because they get almost no help from the federal government. and Democrat-run states appear to have made little to no effort to clean their voter rolls of non-citizens. I introduced the SAVE Act to ensure that non-citizens, whether knowingly or unknowingly, do not take advantage of our flawed voter registration system. The bill is a simple bill that requires states to obtain proof of citizenship before registering an individual to vote in federal elections. A recent poll found that over 80% of Americans support requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. SAVE Act's proof of citizenship requirement will ensure that non-citizens do not register to vote, but is easier for U.S. citizens to comply with than driver's license applications in states like New York and Pennsylvania. The bill also requires every state to identify and remove non-citizens on their voter rolls and gives them immediate, no-cost access to federal resources containing citizenship data to do so. Finally, it imposes penalties on officials who illegally register non-citizens to vote. It passed the House in July with 5 Democrats supporting it. Unfortunately, 198 Democrats, including every Democrat on this subcommittee, voted against it. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has refused to hold a vote on the bill in the Senate, and President Biden even threatened to veto it. Now Democrats are threatening to shut down the government because they are so vehemently opposed to preventing non-citizens from voting. So I asked my Democrat colleagues one simple question: why? And the answer is obvious. My colleagues want citizens to legally vote in 2024 election and future elections. It's the only reasonable explanation after forcing years of chaos on the American people. They believe this will help their election prospects and advance their quest to fundamentally remake America. As Congress, we have a constitutional and moral obligation to ensure that does not happen.